Hello friends, my name is Kapil. My topic for today is guest checkout in the hotel. So first of all, what is checkout? Checkout means it's a process or an act whereby guest settles his outstanding balance in the hotel and vacate the room from the hotel. And now checkout, we have standard checkout time whereby all the guests are required to vacate the room and leave the hotel. And the standard checkout time around the globe is normally observed as 12 noon, and this slightly differs from hotel to hotel and from location to location, because some hotels they follow maybe a checkout time at 11 a.m. or maybe 1 or 2. Now the process of checkout is, the first step is meet and greet the guest. This can be done through a telephonic conversation, or when the guest come to the front desk for checkout, we meet the guest and greet the guest. Or else in telephonic conversation, in a way we meet the guest and greet the guest according to the time of the day and the standard greetings that the hotel follows. And now the second step is retrieve the reservation from the PMS. This means when the guest asks for checkout, we as a front desk officer request the guest room or their name and see the guest account in the property management system or the PMS that we use. And the third step is property exchange or key exchange. This means we, the front desk associate, ask the guest or request the guest for the room key card, and guest handovers the room key card to the front desk officer. And we also at this time check whether how many keys we have issued to the guest room during the time of check-in and how many we are receiving during the time of checkout. The fourth step is check for the last minute posting. Now checking the last minute posting. Now we request the guest whether the guest consume anything from at the last moment from the hotel or from the guest in room minibar. Now this is the right time we call the housekeeping saying that the particular room is checking out, so that they can check the particular room whether everything is in its place and check the minibar as well. And the next step, the step 5, is quality of stay inquiry. At this time we engage the guest in a very short conversation inquiring about their stay in the property, whether they like the product, whether they like the service or not, how is it. And at this time we can request the guest for an online review or TripAdvisor review or Google reviews and so on, if the guest is happy in the hotel. And meanwhile the housekeeping takes few minutes to check the room, and if there is any consumption or anything missing from the room, then we ask the guest, reconfirm the guest whether they have consumed the minibar or not. And if yes, then we post the same into the system. Then the next step, step 6, is generate the folios. Now if there is any consumption, last minute consumption, then we post into the system and generate a folio, a detail of guest account of consumption, guest consumption in the hotel. Then we present it to the guest for the guest verification. And once the guest verifies, we reconfirm the guest with the mode of payment that the guest is going to pay for it. And the next step, step 7, is collect the payment for final settlement. Now once the mode of payment is reconfirmed with the guest, we request the guest for the payment, and the guest presents is like a cash or credit card. Then we do the settlement by using the particular mode of payment in the system and make it as a zero balance. Now the payment is done. The next step comes as handover of payment receipt. Some guests they require payment receipt as well as the folio. Now the front desk officer generate the folio as well as the payment receipt and sign over it and hand it over to the guest as a proof that he paid to the hotel. And the next step is Number 9. Future reservation or future stay inquiry. This means that if the guest is very happy with the property, then we inquire the guest if he have any plans to stay with us for the next time. Then if so, then we can proceed, ask the guest if we can proceed for the future reservation or not. And the last step, step 10, is thank the guest or farewell. Now once all the settlement is done, we thank the guest for staying with us and farewell the guest by wishing them a pleasant journey or have a safe flight, like that. So this is a very simple process of checkout followed by most of the hotel, and thank you.